What is going on, guys? It's Noah from 6Flow Automations. Today I'm going to walk you through the basics of Retell AI, which will allow you to build your very first voice agent. This is going to be a quick video where I walk you through Retell's UI, global settings, and some essential nodes and tools that you will use. If you're interested in learning more advanced tactics to help you build your voice agents, I suggest you check out our channel as we have many videos that will help you out. As always, if you find this content useful or you want to support the channel, hit that like button, drop a sub, and let's jump right into it. Alright guys, so the first step is going to be heading over to retellai.com. This is where you can sign up for your account if you haven't already done so, or just log in if you already have an account, which I will do now. Alright, so once you're logged in, you'll see that you're automatically entered into the Agents tab. This is where all your agents will be stored. You can also create folders for a little bit of organization. So to create a folder, you'll see a plus sign right here. You can give the folder a name, and then to move your agents into that folder, simply tap on the three dots next to your agent and just press move and select the folder that you would like to move it to. So let's just go over a few of the tabs that Retell offers on the left side right here. As I already showed you, we have the Agents tab. Under that is Knowledge Base. So this is where you can add knowledge bases, which you can connect to your AI voice agents, giving it a little bit of extra knowledge on whatever it is told to do. So for example, if you've built a sales agent, you probably want the agent to know the prices of all your products. This is where you can store it in a knowledge base, and you can create this in a Google Doc or a Word doc, convert it to a PDF, and simply upload the knowledge base by pressing this plus right here, enter the knowledge base name, and then press add document. You can either upload a file, add web pages, or just add text manually. It is totally up to you. Then once you're in your agent, I will show you how to connect the knowledge base later. So moving on, we have our phone numbers. So this is where you can connect your Twilio phone numbers. If you don't know how to do so, I will link a video up above that walks you step by step for getting the phone number from Twilio and hooking it up with Retell AI. This is very important as you are going to need to connect a number to your agent if you want to put it into production. So go check that out if you haven't already done so. And let's just move on here. We do have a batch call that Retell offers. I personally don't use this because any batch calling I do with N8N by hooking up a Google Sheets trigger and then connecting into an HTTP request, which will allow me to trigger the Retell AI calls. If you want to check that out, we have a video on our page, which I will link up above for how to do so. Moving on, we have our call history. So this is actually a very useful page because it shows that every call that was made on your Retell account, you can tap on right here. My main use case for this is looking for errors. So if I tap on the most recent call, you can see I'm automatically greeted with a summary and a few analytics, including success, call status, user sentiment, disconnection reason, and end-to-end latency. So this is all very useful information. All of this gets passed through the webhook as well if you want to hook it up to an automation. Again, we have videos on our page that walk you through how to do so. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. The next thing I want to show you is that we have the data tab right here. So this is just going to give you some information on your dynamic variables and your metadata. Here I don't have any metadata, so I wouldn't really worry too much about this. There's not much that you'll need here. My main focus is on the detailed logs, and the reason I go to this a lot is because a lot of the time I have a failed webhook, especially when I'm in development for our front-end analytics page. I can test out the webhook, seeing what is going wrong with our 401s or our 404 errors. So this is sort of on a more advanced side. I really wouldn't worry too much about this. I just wanted to give you a quick run through on what the call history offers. So let's move on now. We can go to chat history. If you were making chatbots with Retell AI, you'll sort of get these same analytics that I just showed you from the call history. I don't really do chatbots through Retell AI, so I don't know too much about this. So let's just move on. Below that, we have our analytics. This is a really cool page. Retell lays it out very nicely, and it sort of just gives you a bunch of analytics on your agents, and you can split it up by agent. So seeing what agent has a certain success rate, a certain user sentiment rate, and so on. You can even add new graphs if you would like, column, bar, donut, and so on. So this is just a cool tab to sort of view if you want to see how your agents are doing. It is pretty cool. Moving on, we have under system, we have billing. So this It's pretty obvious. This is how you can see your billing history, how much money you've spent on retail, and your upcoming invoices. Below that, we have our API keys. Again, pretty standard. This is where you can create an API key allowing a certain website or automation to call on your Retell AI account. To make an API key, you simply just hit the add key button in the top right corner, and then you can select API key and then give it a name. Once you do that, the key will pop up allowing you to copy it, and it will be stored right here. And webhooks, again, I wouldn't worry too much about this one because you can actually connect your webhooks per agent in the agent, which I'll show you in just a sec. So now that we've gone through all of those, let's head back to the agents tab and let's go ahead and press create a new agent, and I will select voice agent. Now off the bat, you can see Retell offers you 4 different types of agents. You got your conversational flow agent, single prompt agent, multi-prompt, and then custom LLM. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to be focusing on the conversational flow agent, although the single prompt agent is another great choice if you're looking to make more of a basic voice agent. For more complex ones, I tend to use conversational flow agent, and I have not really used the multi-prompt agent or custom LLM much, so I won't be touching on those. Off the bat, I'm selected on conversational flow agent. You can see that Retell offers a bunch of templates which you can definitely utilize if you're looking to make something similar and just make your tweaks like you want. So here we have our patient screening, real estate lead qual, medical care receptionist, real estate AI appointment, and so on. There's a bunch that they offer. So if you're making something similar, it might be better to choose one of these, create the agent, and then sort of just build around it. For the sake of this video, I'm going to press on start from blank, and I will press create to create the agent. Now automatically you can see here Retell imports a welcome note for us, which is pretty cool, but you can switch that up, of course. Let's first walk through some of the global settings on the right side. So off the bat, you can see our agent settings. We have our voice and language. So here's where you can switch your language, which Retell has a lot of options to choose from. And then we have our voice. So Retell offers 3 different voice options: 11 Labs, OpenAI, and Cartesia. So your go-to is probably going to be 11 Labs because they are the top dogs in the voice agent industry. So you definitely probably want to choose one of these. However, I will note that Cartesia has the exact same voices as 11 Labs, but does have reduced latency. So if you're noticing that your voice agents are taking too long to respond, maybe switch up to Cartesia instead of 11 Labs. So I'm going to just stick with 11 Labs for the sake of this, and we are currently on CMO, which is totally fine. Now, the global prompt, you can see here that we have the option to switch the LLM that it uses. Next to the LLM, you can see the price per minute. So off the bat, it sets you up with GPT 4.1 as of now. Today is August 29th. But what I do want to mention is that GPT 5 is actually cheaper than GPT 4.1, so definitely go with GPT 5 because it does do better and it is cheaper, so there is no reason not to go with GPT 5, so I'll go ahead and select that. Now, as for the global prompt, there is no reason for you guys to be writing this on your own. The amount of AI that exists, you should know by now that you should be getting AI to write this global prompt for you. Simply go over to ChatGPT or Claude or any LLM of your choice, give a detailed description of the type of voice agent you're trying to build, and ask it to create you a global prompt. Then all you would do is paste it in here. A save button will pop up for you to click. So let's move on. We have our knowledge base now. So like I said before, you can add a knowledge base to your Retell AI account, but that does not connect it to your voice agent. Here's where you actually connect it. So I would press add, and once I press add, you can see all the knowledge bases that I have in my Retell account. If you want to add a new one, you can also do so here by clicking add new knowledge base. But since you already added it in the Retell's homepage, you can just select the one that you want, and then that is it. You now connected this knowledge base to this voice agent, giving it the ability to have all the knowledge in your document. Let's move on to speech settings now. So there's a few things to go through here. One is background sound. I tend to not use this, although I have done it a few times. Reason being that it does sound a little bit more natural if there is background noise. And you can see that Retell offers a few different options like coffee shop, convention hall, summer outdoor, and so on. So that's totally up to you if you want to add a background sound. This is a big one, responsiveness. This is going to control how fast the agent responds to the human. Now, right now it's automatically set to 1, which is a little bit too high for us because although it does make the latency a lot lower, it also might mess with the voice agent interrupting the human or just sort of tweaking out. I tend to keep it around 0.8 to 0.9. If you want to go high, keep it on 0.9. You can see it did drop our latency down to or up to 1545, which is still a little bit long, but like I said before, you could always use a Cortesia voice and it will reduce that once more. The interruption sensitivity also, you want to keep this pretty high but not crazy. I'll usually keep it around 0.8. It is pretty self-explanatory. It pretty much means just how easy it is to interrupt the AI while it's talking. And then next we have enable back channeling. So this just allows the AI agent to use affirmations, as you can see here, like yeah or uh-huh. I usually turn this on, but I put the frequency pretty low because it sort of already does that even if you don't enable it. So I would keep this pretty low, and then you can just type in your examples here, whatever you want. And then the next one is enable speech normalization. Absolutely turn this on for all of your agents. It converts text elements like numbers, currency, and dates into human spoken form. You definitely want that, especially if you're going to be collecting stuff like emails, phone numbers, or so on from the caller. You definitely want to turn this on. The rest of the stuff, I would just leave it as is. I don't really mess with the reminder message frequency or pronunciation, although if you do notice it is pronouncing a word weirdly, you can add this if you would like, but I've never ran into that. The real-time transcription settings, I leave it at default. I've never messed with this, and the transcription is always good, so I wouldn't worry too much about this. Then we have call settings down here, so you could turn on voicemail detection, which says hang up or leave a voicemail if the voicemail is detected. I don't like my agents leaving voicemail, so I just leave this off. And then we have use keypad input detection. So this is pretty much important only if you're going to be using the press digit node, which I never use because sort of defeats the purpose of an AI agent being able to do the tasks on its own. So I don't really mess around with that. Same with this stuff here, termination key, digit limit. That's all related to the pressing digit node. So let's move on. The end call on silence. Guys, I do not know why Retell keeps this so high, but if a call is silent for 10 minutes, it should be hung up so long ago. That's going to waste a lot of your money. There's no point in that. Turn it down. Like realistically, even 1 minute is a long time, but if you want to play it safe, put it at 1 minute. 30 seconds is probably better, so you're not wasting your money. The max call duration, an hour is a long call. That's going to use a lot of your money. I do not want calls going on for an hour, maybe 15 minutes, depending on the agent. If it's a lead call agent, you know, it could go up to 20, but still that's pushing it. So set this to whatever type of agent you are building. And then the ring duration, the max number of rings before the outbound call / transfer call is deemed no answer. 30 seconds, in my opinion, is fine for that. And then we have post-call analysis. I'm not going to dive too deep into this because I have an entire video breaking down what it is and how to set it up, which I will link up above. Now, I'll give you a quick run through though. It is pretty much a data retrieval variable that gets passed through Retell's webhook call on the third attempt, which is for call analyzed, the first being call start, the second being call end, and it's just going to send whatever data you input here to your webhook call. So whether that's an N8N or make automation, you will have that data to work with. Now, a quick example of this would be, let's say I set up a Boolean and I say, was the user satisfied as the description. I would give the name like user underscore satisfied, and then the AI is going to determine during that call, was the user satisfied, true or false. It will then pass it through the webhook so you can play around with that data afterwards. Finally, we have security and fallback settings. Again, I leave these all on default. I don't do any voice agents for any like high security businesses or anything like that. If you did, you definitely want to pay attention to this, so to make sure you're not releasing any very important or classified information. Finally, the webhook settings. So like I was saying earlier, this is where you want to paste the webhook of your automation so that Retell can send the data through that webhook after each call. So if you were going to use post-call analysis, you need to make sure that your webhook trigger is pasted right here. It also has a webhook timeout. 5 seconds is totally fine. I would not touch that. And there you guys have it. So that is breaking down all the global settings that Retell offers in their voice agents. The next thing I want to do very quickly is just walk you through a few nodes. So here we have a conversation node, which is the top one in your left tab bar, which lists all your nodes. Once you click on it, you can see here that it's just an empty box, and you can select either a prompt or a static sentence. So a static sentence means that the AI is going to repeat exactly what you write. So you want to make sure you are talking as if you are the voice agent. A static sentence, for me, I only use it really for the welcome node. The rest of the nodes I like to keep as a prompt, making the conversation more dynamic. The way the prompt work is you're actually talking to the AI rather than talking as if you are the AI. So I would say something like, tell user XYZ, rather than, saying something like, hi, thanks for calling, whatever. Then we have transitions here. So this is going to allow you to take the conversation down different routes. So let's say you had a simple agent that can book meetings and answer FAQs. I can type a static sentence like this, and then the transition, I can simply change this to user wants to book meeting, like that. And then the second transition, I can say user has a question, right? Then I would connect the user has a question to another conversation node, leave it as a prompt, and I would say use the knowledge, it's not how you spell it, knowledge base to answer the user's questions, just like that. And then for the book meetings, I would connect a conversation node, and I would say something like, ask user what day and time they want to meet and get their email. So another cool trick for you guys is that if you hit double enter, this is going to allow you to store the information in a variable. So right here, I ask for 3 different types of information. I say day, time, and email. So we need to store each of those in their own variable. So one of them is going to be called day, one of them is going to be called time, and one is going to be called email. Then what I would do next, if I wanted this agent to book a meeting, is I would set up transitions. So let's say user provides all necessary information. I know I misspelled that, but whatever. Then I would add a function node, which I break down in multiple videos on our channel. So if you don't know how to do so, I'll link some up above, not to worry. But for now, I'm just going to add a simple one, and then I will press add. And then this is going to check the availability, so I can connect it here, which I would then connect to another function that can book the meeting, and so on. Now the cool part is that I can actually use these variables in the conversation. So let's say I added another conversation node like this, and I connected the transition like this. I can say, tell user they are booked on, if you do a double curly bracket and then type day, this is actually going to repeat whatever the user said for their day. So let's say the user said they're free next Tuesday, then the AI is going to say you're booked next Tuesday. So booked on day at time, and so on. So that's how you would sort of use the variables in the conversation node. Once the conversation is over, you can add a ending. So this is going to allow the AI agent to end the call, and I would just connect it to a transition like that. The rest of these nodes I'm not going to focus on too much. I do have videos breaking down the call transfer node, the function node, and a few of the other ones. But for this, we're just going to leave it at the conversation node because that is going to be your go-to. Those are the essential ones to building a voice agent. The other cool thing that you can do is, let's say rather than having a transition from the welcome node to answering the user's question, I can go ahead and delete this, and I can set this node right here as a global node. Now what that means is it's going to allow the AI agent to jump to this node at any point during the conversation. And to set this up, all you do is tap on the node. You will see the settings pop up right here, and I will just turn on global node. Now all I need to do is give it a description. So I'm going to say jump to this node if the user has any questions. This is definitely a better method for doing stuff like referring to the knowledge base or transferring calls, because rather than only allowing it to do so from the initial welcome node, it can actually jump to this node at any point during the conversation and then go back into the conversation from where they left off. All right, and then the next thing I want to show you is how to set up the skip response. So this is a transition that allows the AI to just skip the response from the human and go right to the next node. So this is extremely useful when you're using function nodes. So you can use a skip response while it's booking the meeting, but especially for the ending node, this is going to allow the voice agent to end the call on its own. So let's say I had an ending node right here. I would select the node, I would turn on skip response like that, and you can see that the transition changed to skip response. Then I would simply just set up the ending node, connect this to here, and set up the ending message, and then you would be good to go. All right, so the next thing I want to show you is how to actually test the agent. This is very simple. Next to the global settings tab, you can just tap on test agent and then select the test button, and you will hear the agent start to go.
Customer support department. How can I help you today?
And there you go. You can talk to the agent through the web. This is a lot easier than testing it using your phone, having to call it over and over and over again. It's just a little bit easier for troubleshooting or just building your agent to see how it sounds. All right, and then the final thing I want to show you is how to publish the agent once you have it set up. So that's just going to be this big publish button in the top right corner, and here's where you can connect your phone number inbound or outbound. Again, if you don't know how to set up your phone number, I will link the video up above to walk you through how to do so. You can give it a version name because a lot of the time you'll be publishing multiple versions as you make tweaks and little edits. So you can do that. You can connect your inbound number. Let's say choose one of your numbers that you have inputted into the phone number tab on Retell's main UI. And then all you have to do is click publish just like that. And then your voice agent is now public. If I were to call that Twilio number that I just connected, this voice agent will pick up. That is pretty much all I have to show you for this video. We have a bunch of other videos breaking down more advanced techniques, how to use the function nodes, the call transfers, and a bunch of other stuff in Retell AI, N8N, and more. So go check those out on our channel if you haven't already done so. And if you found this video useful, hit that sub button, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.